G'day, my name's Chris. In case you've accidentally clicked on this video, or you have a genuine interest in the management of stakeholder expectations, hang around for the next 10 minutes and I'll work through the items listed here on my left. Then for something different, I'll run through some licensed modelling software to aid and grade your selection of project stakeholders. But first, let's have a quick think about stakeholders themselves.
Why do stakeholders matter? Quite simply, the success or failure of a project depends on the views of the stakeholder. By taking a look at the definition of a stakeholder, it could include a large number of people depending on your project. So to shorten your list, you are looking for people that are sponsoring your project, someone that will gain from your project's success, or it could be individuals or groups that can influence the success of your project. Choosing the right stakeholder can be quite difficult. A number of traditional grid methods could be used, though depending on the size of the project, software models may better suit your needs. Grid methods are like the one displayed. Rate the stakeholder's position in relation to, in this case, power and interest, and then depending where they fall is how you keep them informed. Salience models point out the most noticeable or important stakeholder. As I mentioned earlier, I wanted to show you a software model. So when we begin, we type in the name of our new project, then open it as the contract manager. Click to add stakeholders, which opens a template for entering our stakeholder's name. We then select his position within our project. In this case, he's internal. And then we can enter a number of different forms of contact information below. We then select what reports our stakeholder will receive, as well as frequency. Now this is where the software is really handy, prompting two levels of significance to the project. In this case, is the owner, and he will be impacted. His importance to the project, in this case he'll be our source of funds, and what he'll expect from the project, as well as his position and area. So we then click Save and New, which then prompts you to add additional stakeholders. Fortunately, for the purpose of this video, the software comes with a demo model, which when we go back to the portfolio, we'll select to contract manage that folder. And when we open up the stakeholder list, we will see a well-populated list of stakeholders, including our rated priority. The software then displays graphically the power of a stakeholder, which is the radial depth, the influence, which is the size of the slice, and the proximity, where the nearer to the segment is to the project, the more involved the stakeholder. So I've had a look at who our stakeholders are, and we've touched on some methods of rating them. If we were using the software model from the previous stages, a number of these items had already been completed, including the level of engagement, impacts of change, and communication frequency. However, using the more traditional methods would require these steps to be more detailedly looked at. So, looking back to our presentation outline, we've identified some stakeholders. We've pointed out we need to plan for stakeholder management. What are stakeholder expectations? Our project sponsors will have an outcome in mind. Those looking to benefit from our project will have that to expect. And our project influencers will be expecting a reasonable process for project management. What does it mean to be manager of shareholder expectations? Well, you are the link between your organisation and the stakeholder, which our friends here demonstrate the need to keep the string pulled tight. As the project manager, you'll need to, in the early stages of the project, develop a communications basis with stakeholders, while also playing a leadership role, communicating openly and honestly your company's values. Decisions made through the course of the project will not always go each stakeholder's way, and senior management members of your company making the required decisions do so with the stakeholder in mind. And as project manager, you should be aware that senior management didn't get to where they are without some level of street credit. In the situation you find yourself, remember to keep a balance of transparency and thoughtfulness to your stakeholders. The formal documentation required in the management of stakeholder engagements includes generating and maintaining an issue log, which will include adding new issues and removing resolved issues, formal change requests in relation to corrective or preventative actions to the project itself, and may include changes to the interaction with impacted stakeholders, updates to the project management plan to reflect any change in additional stakeholder information, and to record communication no longer required as the project runs its course. Organisational process asset updates. What a mouthful. This means, in Australian, updates to organisational documents, which are organisational assets, meaning the company owns these documents and in most cases has their letterhead. These documents are used during the project management process, including any notifications, project reports, presentations, records, stakeholder feedback documentation, and may include a lessons learned document used throughout the project. Back to the presentation outline, we have covered stakeholder identification, planning management, managing engagement, and last on the list is the control of stakeholder engagement. This final stage, control of engagement, is the monitoring of the overall stakeholder engagement and will include presenting work performance data. Thank you for listening.